Hey, everybody. Welcome to Discourse, the Horror Syndicate show. And today we're going to talk about some George Romero zombie movies, only the zombie movies. We're not going to talk about Martin or Season of the Witch or anything like that. We're going to talk just zombie movies. I heard myself. That was cool. So, anyway, yeah, so everybody, hopefully, most horror fans have seen Night of the Living Dead. I have not. Joking. I watched it the other day.
For the
Um,
14,000th time.
I don't know. I've seen Night of the Living Dead quite a bit for sure, but I that's a good way to start. Which one do you think you guys have seen the most? I would ask Keith, but he's only seen Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead's the one I've seen the most. I've seen
Yeah,
all
because
of them now.
yeah, as of this week. What about you? You two, Seth, Jared. Which one do you think you've seen the most?
Go ahead, Seth.
Night of Living Dead. That's my second favorite horror movie of all time. So,
Really? What's
Yep.
the first?
American Werewolf in London.
Please. No. Yeah, Jared. What about you?
I'd say it's pretty close between Dawn and Night, but I actually owned Night on VHS back in the day, so I grew up watching that movie.
Okay. For me, it's oddly enough, this is the problem with me. I either see sequels first or I see remakes first. So
Jared, what about you?
I saw heard myself again. I saw Night of the Living Dead 1990 before I saw any. Well, that's not true. I saw Dawn of the Dead when I was a kid, and it freaked me the hell out. But I saw Night of the Living Dead 1990 by myself while my mom was bowling, and it scared the shit out of me. A couple years later, I found Night of the Living Dead VHS and got home, and it was during a baseball tournament. Just couldn't wait. Baseball had to wait. I wanted to watch Night of the Living Dead, but for me, probably Dawn of the Dead. I'd say that's the one I've seen the most. But we're gonna go through. We're gonna talk about which ones are our favorite, and then we're gonna break into each movie. I think for today. Um, I think there's two classes for me when it comes to the Romero zombie movies. There's my favorite, and then there's what I think is the best. My favorite is Dawn of the Dead. What I think is the best is Day of the Dead, and I think the story. I think maybe I just like kind of depressing, stories that are almost no hope in a way, even though it kind of ends on a high note. But it's so down. It's a downer, and Rhodes is such a prick. And the makeup from Savini, it's by far, I think, his best movie. I'm having some congestion problems right now. Pardon me. It's not Rocket. No. Anyway, what about you, Seth? Which one's your favorite, and which one do you think's the best? Let's do this round table style.
My favorite and what I think is the best is Night of the Living Dead. I love that it's in black and white. I love the way that it's lit. I love the camera angles. I love the music. I love the ending. It's just a very bleak. I think it's the most terrifying out of all of his zombie movies.
One cool thing about each one is they're tonally different. Each one of them seem to be. And I mean, Night of the Living Dead set the stage for the rest of the movies, and you're right, it does have a really bleak ending. Fantastic characters, but for some reason, for me with the ending, it always felt like they were fixing the issue by the end. They had all the guys out there shooting them, putting them on the fire and stuff. It seemed like they were just cleaning it up, and that was it. Where Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, especially Day of the Dead, just anyway.
Well, it just shocked me when I first saw it. Like, this guy, he survives this entire night, this whole ordeal with everybody, and then he gets mistaken for a zombie and shot.
Well, so let me ask you this: how old were you when you saw it for the first time? You think?
Oh, I don't remember. I know I was young. I saw it on TV. And I know my dad talked it up a lot, how it used to scare him, when he saw it in theaters. But I don't remember how old I was, but I've seen that movie so many times. I just love that movie.
That would have been an experience seeing it in the theaters. That's one that's one that I saw. I'm surprised I haven't seen because the theaters around here go back and play classic horror, but they've never done Night of the Living Dead, as far as I know. I'd be there if that was the
And
case.
it's shocking too because it's public domain. So
Is it still?
It is.
yeah,
Yeah, it is.
Maybe we should just stream it on our channel sometime, just for fun. By the way, if you haven't already and you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube page, please. Hit that subscribe button and like the video. That would help us greatly. So, Jared, what about you? 3 questions: favorite, best, and how old do you think you were when you saw your first one?
I'll answer the last one first. I was probably like 11 or 12 when I first saw Night of the Living Dead. I
That
got
was
it
the
on
first one you saw?
VHS. Yeah, that was definitely the first one I saw, the original one. But it was the I might have been a little bit older than that, maybe 13 or 14. They did this like 40th anniversary one on the VHS where they added some scenes. There was a priest and like his little dog, Mushu.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember what's that adaptation, but they like added scenes to it.
We talked about that on a previous show.
But I had that on VHS, and I definitely watched the shit out of that.
Wasn't that done by Russo?
It might have been.
Wasn't it like for another movie or something? I can't remember.
That
Lombardo.
I don't. That
I'm
I
pretty sure
don't know.
Lombardo talked about it. I don't remember.
Yeah, but it had these added scenes that were like filmed later in black and white, and it was like a priest that gotten bitten by a zombie, and then he bit his dog Mushu, and neither one of them got infected, and they like had this weird church out of it. I don't know if you guys have seen any of that
No, I've never seen
adaptation
that.
of it. It's fucking weird. So what was the other ones? Best,
Favorite and best.
favorite, and best. Well, my best and favorite are it's Dawn. Like I
Dawn.
love all 3 of them, like the original trilogy. They're amazing. But like Dawn of the Dead, like turned my head upside down when I first saw it. And it was, it was more hopeful than the end of like Night of the Living Dead. And then he brings it back down with Day of the Dead. Like it's more bleak and hopeless. But it's like when you go into a mall and like the world is at your fingertips, like that's fucking hopeful. Like I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this.
Well, and then the scene at the end of the movie where Peter is about to kill himself. Spoiler alert. 42-year-old spoiler alert. He's sitting there. He puts the gun, the little tiny little pistol to his head, and decides, that right there tells me that there's still hope. And then you get to Day of the Dead, 7 years later, and it's, I mean, when they show Miami and the dead walk, Dr. Tongue, all that stuff, it's like, oh, that ruined the ending for Dawn of the Dead. Even though they technically, now I watched the Land of the Dead commentary with George, and he said they don't technically connect. They're not, they're all single movies. Because he said Dawn of the Dead or the Land of the Dead is not a sequel to Day of the Dead. So that's what he said. But I don't know how many times he's had to answer that question, and But anyway, Seth, Keith, what about you? See, I'm gonna keep this stuff at the end of the name that's gonna screw me up.
Keith, Seth.
I mean, just call me the Rifleman like you like doing.
The Rifleman, you go.
Well, I did not watch all of these like everybody else did. My first one was...
No, you just watched them this week.
Only ones I'd ever seen were the originals and remakes of Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. That was it. So my first viewing of Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, and the god-awful last 2 that were made were this weekend.
Oh, baloney.
My
That's
first
fair.
one was Night of the Living Dead. Again, I grew up with it on VHS, black and white. But I think the first time I saw it was on TV before the VHS, and I thought it was like a Twilight Zone episode because of the black and white. But that one, again, like Seth was saying, there's the shocking ending. I really like the score. And again, I like that it transports me back to that time. Like I like the radio broadcasting and the news report. Except for Barbara, she annoys me.
Yeah.
She was
Little
better
bit.
than the remake.
Yes, I just watched the remake, and that's what I was telling Ray. She's way better of a character. But like he said, it
Much more stronger of a character.
has
yeah.
to do with the times. Um, for me, Dawn and Day are like right on equal footing for me. They both kept my attention, and I really like both of them equally. Um, but I feel like Day had more like showing of what humanity is going through in it. Like it had more character building and more like depth with them, especially with the soldiers. They're literally just going to their primal state of a human and just being animals pretty much. But I would say the best is probably Day of the Dead, and my favorite is probably Dawn.
It's almost all of us, I guess. Like think Dawn is the favorite, except for Seth. Which is nothing wrong with Night of the Living Dead being a favorite or the number 2 favorite of your all time list. Which I'm waiting for that list, by the way. At least 25 of them. I need a top 25 from you on my desk by Wednesday.
I'll get right on that, sir.
Okay.
Yes, master.
Yes, for me, I said Dawn of the Dead as my favorite. It's such a fun movie, like what Jared was saying about at the mall with stuff at your fingertips. I mean, that's so much fun, and the remake was spectacular. It's such a great zombie movie. If not called Dawn of the Dead, it'd probably be top 2, 3 zombie movies of all time, in my opinion. Day of the Dead, it's like what Keith was saying with the soldiers and the primal. It's the makeup just really gets it for me too. The makeup's so good, and everybody's descent into madness is fantastic. Everybody's,
I
except
love
for a couple
Frankenstein.
people.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I for me, like I said, I saw Night of the Living Dead. It was 1993 or 92. It was the year that we had a big flood in the area, and I really liked it. But I had already seen the Tony Todd, Patricia Tallman 1990 movie, which I really absolutely
Savini
loved.
movie.
So yeah, yeah, exactly. Savini directed. He got the poster signed, didn't you?
I
Jared?
did. It's back there.
If I have not seen that, if I had not seen that first, I probably would like Night of the Living Dead 68 way better. But I saw the remake first, and I prefer the ending of Night 68 better. I didn't like Ben being a zombie as much, but it was okay. It wasn't terrible for me. So first one I ever saw, and it wasn't the whole movie. It was Dawn of the Dead. It was about 1984, 83. I was rather small. I was 3 or 4 years old at the time. And the adults, my mom and her sisters, they were 22, 23 years old. And they rented Dawn of the Dead because, why not? It's a horror movie. It's like, one of the grossest movies ever, whatever it is. And they had all of us kids go down the basement. It was a split level house. Split level, there's the steps going up and down when you walk in the door. Well, the living room was right there, and me and my cousins were sitting at the edge of the steps watching. And so they're going through the bodega or whatever, the hotel or apartment, whatever complex. And, first of all, Wooly goes ape shit and shoots somebody's head off. And so I saw that. I'm like, oh my God. I don't remember offhand, but the scene that got me was the guy with the fro and the mustache bites his girl in the neck and the arm. And I was like, done. I'll never watch this movie again. And I didn't watch it again until I was 16. And so Dawn of the Dead affected me greatly. I loved horror movies all my life, but Dawn of the Dead was not one I ever wanted to revisit. That and Reanimator were 2 movies I never wanted to revisit. So, and we talked about Reanimator last week, but so let's talk a little Night of the Living Dead. Keith, you're the biggest fan. What, you got anything you want to say about it?
I'm the biggest fan of Night of the Living Dead.
I meant Steph.
Just like what I said earlier, I just love everything about it. The way it's shot, the way it's lit, the camera angles, the music, just everything just goes together so well. I don't know. And I love the Criterion Collection Blu-ray.
Yes.
That
Very
transfer
nice.
is amazing.
I just watched
It's
that
right
for the
back
first
there.
time. I've had it
Yeah.
and haven't watched it and just watched it. It is insane. I really like the sheriff stuff in Night of the Living Dead.
I bought the Mill Creek version thinking, it's a Blu-ray. I'll get that. It'll be fine. And then I got the the Criterion. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah,
It looks like it was shot recently.
Yeah, Mill Creek likes to just pop shit on a Blu-ray disc.
I know years ago they put out a DVD where they remastered it in color. You guys ever see that?
I have not seen it, but I know it's a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Yes, that's the one.
Does it change it for you?
it did for me. Like, I don't know. It
It's
just
nice
kind
to
of,
watch in color.
It's
it
different.
is, but at the same time, Johnny's shirt being pink polka dots. I don't know.
The car is red also, which I didn't ever think. I thought it was like a blue color. Yeah, I need to watch. It's been.
I
this is
even
the
have a
first edition I've
Japanese Blu-ray release of Night of the Living Dead.
watched. Ooh.
This is the color one, right? You already showed
Yeah.
that, Ray?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I prefer it being in black and white. It just adds to the atmosphere
Oh,
of the
yeah.
movie.
And they didn't need to make it in black and white either. This is another edition I have that I like.
Yep.
So yeah, that I think that does add to it.
Unless you watch the Riff Tracks version.
Why would you ever do that?
It's actually kind of funny.
I think I have that on my computer somewhere.
If you like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
I don't. So that's. Did everybody but me drink at the same time?
I almost did.
No, I was sighing at you.
Oh, well, because I don't like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes.
Sorry, not my thing. So, anybody else want to talk about Night a little bit? Let's talk about the characters a little bit. We know about the zombies and well, one thing I was listening to George talk on the I just call him George because we knew each other really well.
Yeah.
But I was listening to him. His commentaries are really good. I think I could listen to George Romero talk all day long. I just love like the stuff he remembered. But he was talking about the rules, and people would ask him about the rules of these movies and the rules of the universe. And he why'd they eat bugs in the first movies? Like they were just flesh eaters. They weren't zombies, and they weren't zombie. They never called anybody a zombie till I don't know if they ever did in any of them, except for
Later on they did.
Yeah, but he was talking about the rules and how he said if I knew where this was going to go, I would have made a rule book back in 1968, but I didn't because I thought this was going to be the only one I'd make. So I thought that was kind of interesting. That I mean, they were just simply flesh eaters, and it grew. I mean, I hate when people message me when I'm doing stuff.
Noises.
Loud
noises.
So anyway, let's talk about some of the things you like about the movie. Jared, what do you like about other than people eating people?
Are we still on Night of the Living Dead?
We're still on Night, yeah. Because I want to talk. Let's talk about the characters a little bit. Because how about we do this? So we don't have a like an idea of where the show's going to go. Let's talk about 90 versus 68 a little bit. Tom Savini didn't get to be a part of the 1968 version, but he got to be he directed, I'm sure with George's blessing, the remake. I wonder how he felt about the remake.
He was a part of it. He was a producer and he rewrote the script with Russo.
Oh, interesting.
And I just watched a behind the scenes of the 1990 remake on YouTube, and George was kind of behind it, and he's the one that told Savini he wanted him to direct it.
Yeah.
Rather than doing it himself.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Because he did all those badass effects for his movies.
Well, I wonder why he wouldn't direct it himself. I guess redirecting a movie that you've already done would be kind of dumb. I mean, the differences aren't very, other than Barbara's character and Johnny calling the zombies horny. There's not much different to the movie, and the ending, of course. But I don't know. I think Tony Todd was the perfect casting decision for the remake. I overall, what's his name for Mr. Cooper? He was fantastic. I can't think of his name. He's no longer with us. He was in The Devil's Reject.
Yeah, he was in Rob Zombie's movies.
He's in a lot of movies. Yeah, I can't think of his name offhand, but he was a good actor, good character actor. That shootout between him and Ben was really good, and it's just, to me, it's an updated version with a little bit of a twist. Again, I saw that before I saw Night of the Living Dead, or the 68 version.
I think the only reason why they wanted to remake it anyway was to make some money off it because they weren't able to make any money off the original because of the copyright issue they had.
Right. That's why it's still in public domain.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because he lost the rights to the Living Dead part. That's why Russo jumped on when they did Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, Russo got the Living Dead, which why didn't did they ever make anybody make a movie called Night of the Dead? You know,
Maybe in Italy.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Oh, who else likes Italian movies? Is it just me and Jared here? Yeah. Okay.
So far,
Keith only like.
I haven't seen too many. So
I like Cemetery Man. That's been about it so far.
That movie's bizarre. Do you have any comments here? Let's see. Night of the Living Dead is in public domain. That's why it's in many lower budget horror movies. Yep. It's also on Halloween too. Romero's whole damn series is depressing.
Isn't that the point?
Well, it's the end of the world.
I mean,
that is kind of depressing.
I don't know how jolly it's going to be.
That's from Chris Hall, and Darren Crowder says, "Sup, y'all." So you just want to talk about Dawn of the Dead, how great it is, how the effects. There's a food fight with pies.
The other thing, before we move on, the only last thing I'd like to say about the original Night of the Living Dead is like Romero casting an African American lead actor in his movie was like way ahead of his time. Like,
oh yeah, especially for '68. And he didn't write him that way. He just cast the best person for the job.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there a big thing with that because wasn't it released like the day before or after Martin Luther King's assassination? Wasn't that a thing? Because everybody blew up the role of it being a black guy and him being shot at the end of the movie because it was right near after Martin Luther King getting shot.
I think that was just commentary of the time.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
How things were in the 60s.
Before that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like
if you get a
65,
chance,
66.
Look up a documentary called Birth of the Living Dead. It may be on Shudder. I'm not 100% sure. It's documents everything leading up to Night of the Living Dead and during the filming and everything like that. It's a really good documentary. I'm glad they were able to do that before George passed away in 2017. Any last things you want to say about the original? Chris Hall, I've made a living off Fulci for many years at Iban Press. Iban. So I got we're gonna have me and Jared will sit down and do an Italian horror episode again because I have passion for Fulci. So does Jared.
Yes.
Jared did a top 10 Fulci movies list, which you can find on thehorrorsyndicate.com, and I don't agree with it anymore because you know it's not on there. You know it's not on there.
What's that? Don't Torture the Ducklings?
Yep, that's not on there.
Fuck me.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be updated.
That's a superb movie. It's on Shudder also if you guys want to venture out and check out Don't Torture a Duckling. It's really good. Anyway, Dawn of the Dead. Anyway. Well, it kind of leads in because Dawn of the Dead, if not for an Italian director, Dario Argento, may never have been made.
Yes.
So, and we got to give credit where credit's due. Dario helped George get Dawn of the Dead made, and that's where there's a European cut.
And had Goblin produce the score for us.
The score is awesome.
It is. It's also used in a movie called Hell of the Living Dead. But anyway, that movie's garbage. My brother-in-law loves it so much, but it's bad. But anyway, so Dawn of the Dead. Let's talk about the characters, the main four characters, a little bit. Then I want to get into favorite kills in that movie because Night of the Living Dead's light on the kills. I mean, of course, everybody's basically killed off except for Barbara, right? Nothing really big on it. We enter Tom Savini into Dawn of the Dead, and then it's like, what did he used to say? Let's figure out ways to kill people.
He always does that.
Yeah, and Dawn of the Dead, that's one of the things that sticks out for me in that and Day of the Dead are the kills, and that's probably why I don't like Night as much, because I do like the gore and I love the innovative ways of killing people. So let's talk about Peter, Roger, Flyboy, and what's her name? I always think her real name, Galen.
Pregnant lady.
Yeah. Let's
Francine.
talk about her. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really horrible about actors' names. Like
Well,
in
her
the
real name
movies.
is Galen. So
Yeah, Galen.
just so you know, in the remake, there is a store called Galen Ross in the mall.
I
So
did not notice that.
yeah, well, you're also 23. So
Whip-de-doo, Basil.
I wish I was 23. You kidding?
Yeah.
Anyway,
If I could turn back time and be 23 again, that would be great.
yeah, I was watching horror. That was the year I bought my first Italian horror movie, City of the Living Dead, right above my shoulder there. So let's talk about the characters. George Romero. Well, who's your favorite character in this one? I know because Keith told me he liked Roger a lot.
Roger's
Yeah.
my favorite.
But why?
He's just
He's
nuts.
so reckless.
That's
He's
why I
just-
like him. He's fun.
Did
He's
he
a
take
spark
what-
plug.
He is a spark plug. Did he take what Wooly did and he went apeshit himself? When they're moving the trucks, you know, the famous line, "We got this by the ass." How Peter obviously is the favorite, I would think. He survived.
He's
Yeah.
he's
smart about
he's got the
everything.
badass factor. He's a cool character.
So no, you like him because Flyboy's trying to shoot a zombie and he just comes over and knocks the barrel up. And that's why you like him.
I like him later when they get the mall. He's just, when he's starting to lose his shit. He's just going nuts. He's being fun.
Yeah, sliding down the escalator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He gets overconfident.
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's what killed him.
Hmm.
All of his
Anybody like
yeehaws.
Flyboy the best? Does anybody like Flyboy the best?
I actually do, just because he was like thrust into a situation and he's like, "Oh, I'm fucking badass now."
I mean, I like that they have a roundabout of like type characters instead of everybody just being the same stereotypically.
Everybody had a purpose.
Exactly.
Even though Flyboy was a dick to his girlfriend.
I think Flyboy had a better arc. You know, he was kind of like at first him and Roger were at odds, and then as the movie progressed, they started becoming friends. And I don't know, he seemed less like a dick towards the end
Yeah,
to me, anyway.
for sure.
And I like Flyboy too, mostly because of just the image of when he does die at the end and the elevator doors open and he's standing there like this. Yeah, just like an iconic image to me.
Well, and plus with
I
Dawn
mean,
of the
he-
Dead, like more time passes in that than all the other movies, right?
Oh yeah,
So I
absolutely.
mean, they
Yeah.
get more time to develop and get more comfortable in the apocalypse.
They
Mhm.
make it seem like weeks go by.
Yeah, which I like how they actually show how time has elapsed with their like apartment room. They're starting to get furniture and TVs and
Yeah, they built a life there, and they probably could have lived a lot longer there if it wasn't for the biker gang.
Thanks,
It-
Tom Savini, biker gang.
Well, I mean, you know, honestly, it's Galen Ross's fault for wanting to learn how to fly a helicopter, because they wouldn't have saw them if they on that day if they weren't teaching her how to fly the helicopter. But at the same time, it's good that they did that because her and Peter would have been stuck in that mall.
Damn the ma'am.
Yeah, it's a fun. I think it's the most fun out of all the movies, in my opinion. Because you know, like you got them pillaging the mall. There's that one scene where Flyboy and Peter are at the bank, and they to get money for some reason. It's like the world's ending, but hey, we got money.
that's why it says just in case.
Yeah, and there's a lot of fun stuff like when they're shopping for food, and you know, there's that great scene where the zombie is like they're running by and it's like a mannequin and it attacks Roger and he takes the drill and drills into the ear of the zombie. There's a lot of great stuff in Dawn of the Dead. I think, yeah, it's definitely my favorite. There's so many memorable things. Peter says that classic line when there's no room left in hell, whatever it is, the dead will walk the earth,
Mhm.
something along those lines. And he says it again in the remake. I
So
don't
what's
know.
your guys' favorite kill of that movie?
Yeah.
The helicopter probably.
You know, that
That's
was left out of the Italian or the European version.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
The one thing
Yeah, the helicopter is my favorite too, actually.
when I first saw that movie, the one thing I kept thinking, because obviously when the zombie's walking, like the first thing that pops to your mind is his head's going to get chopped off by the rotor. But the one thing I kept thinking when I first watched that movie is like he's just going to walk up and get his head chopped off, and they're not going to think about he needs to be more elevated than Flyboy. But they thought about that. He climbed on boxes.
And they built him a Frankenstein head.
Yeah, a 5 head.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good scene. What about you, Seth? What is your one of your favorite deaths in this one?
My favorite death in that? I'd probably say the helicopter with the head as well.
Very inventive. I mean, there are some great
Yeah.
ones. Like, I mean,
It looks so good though, seeing it just as he falls down, the blood's like dripping over his face.
the best part was it sounds like it was such an easy gag because they put that thing and pulled a string on it. You know, they pulled it off of his head and it just flew off, and it looked, it looked legit. But
I also
there's
like
so
all
many.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I also like all the stuff at the apartment complex in the beginning too. Everything that happened there was just awesome.
Like when Willie goes apeshit,
Yes.
blows off that dude's head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like the scene where the guy, for some reason, in all the madness, is getting his blood pressure.
Yeah, he just keeps going back to it.
It's
I
like
got
and
time to get my blood pressure checked.
and one guy's like, "Come on, man, they're shooting at us." No, I gotta get my blood pressure done.
0/0.
Yeah, 0/0. I mean, then there's this scene where Savini, puts the meat cleaver in the guy's head, even though it's in reverse. It's a really cool how it just stops, and and he has to pull it out, and that's a cool scene. Also, my favorite is just like I said before was whenever the lady was trying to get to what I thought was her husband, and he just bites her on the neck, and then he gets shot in the head and stuff. That whole beginning of the movie, though, with whatever it is, the apartment building or whatever, is so awesome with SWAT coming in. And I like there's a scene where Roger's talking to the kid about not, being calm or whatever. And then Tom Savini's friend, comes out and shoots him right in the damn head. So, like, immediately, it's like, oh, okay. This movie's not fucking around when they kill the guy off within seconds of him. It's going to be okay. Did you know that Rhodes is actually in this movie?
Was it?
Yeah, with the guy who plays him. Yeah, Joe Pilato. He's one of the guys on the dock when they're getting ready to leave town on the boat.
Really?
I don't think it's
I actually
Rhodes,
didn't know that.
It's Joe Pilato. Yeah, I like that guy. He was an interesting person. There's some really interesting videos of him on YouTube. Yeah, he was interesting. My brother-in-law got to meet him, which I'm envious because he passed away last year.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he did. But anyway, yeah. Anything else we want to talk about with Dawn of the Dead? Anybody that's watching, let us know if you have anything you want to say. We only have a couple people watching today, so otherwise we can move on and talk about a little bit of Day of the Dead. If anybody wants to. If you don't want to, we don't have to.
Do you guys know where they filmed Day of the Dead, like the underground parts? I was trying to look that up. Like, is it an actual military base that they're in, or
It was a missile silo.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's close to Pennsylvania where he
It's
usually
in
likes to shoot.
Yeah, it's in Pittsburgh.
Okay, because I kept seeing stuff where it was saying where they shot above ground. I'm like, I want to know underground.
The Scream Factory Blu-ray collector's edition of Day of the Dead has an awesome documentary on it about the making of it.
Okay, I need to watch
Is
that.
that the one Document of the Dead or whatever?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that one. There's a couple good documentaries for this each movie. I don't know where do they say the top scenes. I know they got did they get the film in Miami? Was it my actual Miami?
I saw Florida on the list of places they filmed when I was looking it up.
Yeah, most of these movies are filmed like Dawn of the Dead was filmed in Monroeville Mall.
Because I know I was reading they had to build the top of the elevator in Florida for the above ground scene, and then it's a cut to the actual elevator
Yeah.
in the other location.
God, what about that scene?
The one thing I wanted more from that scene was more zombies to fall off.
Yeah,
They had some serious balance.
they basically all got on and knew what was going on. Okay, let's stand on this elevator. But that scene is messed up. That dude was dying. He didn't give a shit. He was done with everything and goes up and
It was a nice little fuck you to Rhodes.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't. Then that's not even the last fuck you to Rhodes. Rhodes is such a prick that he gets the last word in. So that's got to be the best death in the whole movie is Rhodes' death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure.
Choke on him. Choke on him. Last words. I mean, those are the famous last words right there. Choke on him. Such a great death. I mean, there's so much going on in this movie. And this last time I watched it, it seemed to go by super fast. And I'm not sure why, but there's so much going on with Logan trying to, is he teaching them how to start to be human?
He wants to domesticate them.
Yeah, so he's doing all these tests with them, and the best part is he's using this dead soldiers that they supposedly had buried, which was I really like. And I'm torn between he and Rhodes is my two favorite characters in the movie, but it might be him because his excitement level with Bub when Bub starts doing things on his own. Say hello to your Aunt Alicia, and he almost says it. Bub almost says it, and this is why I think Land of the Dead is a sequel, because in Land of the Dead, which is 20 years later, you can see how advanced they are. Like with Big Daddy coming out when the bell rings, he comes out to pump gas. And I don't know if that's a memory thing, like just a reflex for the zombie, or if they're actually getting smarter. But they do, and that throughout that movie for sure.
The way that I look at these movies, especially the first four, I do think that they're all connected, and there's each one progresses deeper into the apocalypse. And at the same time, we're seeing an evolution of the zombies. In the second one, in Dawn, there's the whole deal with the instinct. They're going to the mall because that's what they used to do. They're remembering what they used to do. And there's everything with Bub in Day of the Dead. And he's starting to remember who he was and how to do certain things. And then that continues on in Land. They evolve.
So did Bub go out and teach everybody?
Yes.
I think all those zombies ended up stuck down in that bunker.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, there's a way out, huh?
There was no way up.
Well, I thought, based on how they wrangled them in, I assumed that there was a cave entrance somewhere, because they had that place to wrangle all the zombies in. So
that's how they get out. That's how.
Is it?
Yeah, because they're all stuck in there at the towards the end of Day of the Dead. Because the one guy breaks the elevator and sends it down, so the elevator's broke, and they're all in the cave system. That's how they get out. They follow those red lights or whatever they were.
Yeah, but they have to climb all the way up.
Yeah, they climb up a big ladder. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so the zombies probably couldn't do that.
Yeah. Well, they're evolving.
Oh,
maybe we'll get another.
That's true.
Maybe we'll get another Dead movie, and they'll climb on top of each other like ants.
Well, that's called World War Z.
Z.
That movie's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So it is. Come on, it is. They run and jump. They ignore people who have a sickness.
They move like liquid.
Yeah, and they do pile up like fucking ants. Like when they trying to climb up shit. Like because there's I think even the poster shows like an ant-like formation. Ants try to reach things. They pile on top of each other.
Yeah, they're trying to get the helicopter in the poster.
Yeah, and that's fucking ridiculous. I don't think we could even do that.
I mean, you gotta admit though, that would be terrifying.
The only thing terrifying about that movie is that it's an actual movie. So, and it's strayed so far away from the book. Yeah. Zombie Survival Guide. If nobody's ever checked that out, check that out. It's a really cool book.
It's a good book.
I have that.
Books. Yeah. It's that's one that should be in just about any zombie fans collection, in my opinion. So Keith, jump on Amazon, Zombie
One of the-
Survival Guide.
One of the coolest things about Day of the Dead that people who like pop culture these days with zombies, but Gregory Nicotero got his start on Day of the Dead as an assistant to Tom Savini.
And he's in the movie.
Yes. I think he does have a cameo, yes.
Yeah, he gets to play. Well, he's the one that he's in the meeting scene, and then there's later
one of
on
the
he's head
soldiers.
of zombie. Yeah, yep. That is yeah, and if not for his break on that, he may never have been on The Walking Dead.
That's literally his first horror movie on his list. Because he works on Evil Dead 2, Creepshow 2, Phantasm 2.
Did he work on Army of Darkness?
Yeah.
He worked on Monkey Shines, which is a George Romero
Movie's
movie.
awesome.
Candyman's better than
Candyman's better than what?
Army of Darkness.
Going back to this.
I think
I'll
I
never
could
stop.
agree with that.
I'll never stop. It's a ridiculous. Anyway,
Shit. I didn't realize he did that. He did special effects on Halloween 5, Nightmare on Elm Street 5,
oh, the best ones.
Tales from the Dark Side, the movie,
I like that movie. That's a good one.
Misery,
Not a horror movie.
Oh God.
Bride of the Reanimator,
That's definitely not a horror movie.
Leatherface 3.
Not a horror movie.
Oh my God, what am I talking? Greg Nicotero did special makeup effects on Army of Darkness.
Not a horror movie.
Jesus,
right
that's
there.
crazy.
It's just right there, Dumb and Dumber.
Did he do Dumb and Dumber? Really? Yeah, Greg Nicotero. Well, I mean, he's a legend now.
Nathan
back
Thomas
then-
Milliner says Army of Darkness rules. RULZ.
Ah, thank you. God. Maybe I shouldn't have brought that up.
Oh, no.
Brought that back to life.
Yep. You reanimated it.
So-
Those skeletons look too good, man.
Who went and saw Land of the Dead in the theater?
Multiple
Not me.
times.
What year did that come out?
05. You were 9.
I don't. Yeah, I did not. I know I saw
was-
I know I saw Dawn of the Dead remake in theaters.
That was 04. So yeah, so I saw that, and then I heard that Land of the Dead was coming out. I was like, oh shit, zombies are coming back. And so I was, first day I was there. I think I saw it twice in the theater. My first impressions were meh, but over
Meh.
time it's grown on me quite a bit. I mean, it's definitely not one of my favorites from the Romero series. I guess it would be the fourth one out of all 7. Is it 7? 6.
6.
6 of them. Yeah, I think it's good. I like it, and I would suggest watching it with his commentary, Romero's commentary. What'd you think of it, Seth?
I love the Land of the Dead. I think it's kind of underrated. I see a lot of people shit on it all the time on the internet, but I don't get it. I liked it. I mean, the first time I saw it, me and my buddy went to the mall to go see it, and we smoked a couple of J's on the way, so it went over my head. But the second
under
time
your
I
butt.
saw it, I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it was it felt like an event movie, like it had been 20 years since we got a Romero zombie movie, and this was coming out. You had to be there. I had to be there. Jared, did you not get to see it in the theater?
I didn't see it in the theater, but it was probably his biggest budget movie since like the late 80s.
Yeah, he had actual studio backing for that, and
Right. Like Monkey Shines, I think he had decent backing for. I was kind of looking at his discography or filmography. I think that was the one that had the biggest budget behind it since that movie. I like that the fact that Ozzy Argento was in it
Yes,
because
I was just gonna say that.
big Argento fan, and Lefty Enright was in it. Man, that's cool.
Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright were both zombies in a cameo.
Yeah.
It
God.
was so.
It should have
Is
did.
that-
It should have did so much better than it did. Is what I
It should
should
have.
say.
Well, you didn't see it. You didn't go see it in the theater.
I didn't.
You're part of the problem,
Yeah.
Jared.
But
I
well,
didn't.
I mean, it didn't do good in theaters because it was originally supposed to be released in, I think, October, and Universal decided to push it forward, and they released it in the summer, in between Batman Begins and War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise.
Oh,
So
fuck.
obviously, it didn't. It was sandwiched between those, and obviously didn't do good.
Yeah, it did not make a lot of money. Its budget was 15 million. Opening weekend was 10 million, and its gross domestic is 20 million, 700,000.
I blame the studio for that.
Did not do good. So do you guys think if that movie would have done better, we would have got another studio movie after it?
I think so.
I don't know. I think it depended on George more than anything. Because
If I remember correctly, he didn't have too good of a time with working with the studio on that.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, he's a very independent filmmaker.
Everything he's done is very, very close knit. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, and I mean, this one was supposed to be called Dead Reckoning also, and I always heard rumors after this one for one called, or maybe it was before, called Twilight of the Dead, and I don't know if that was supposed to be. You guys ever hear about this one?
Yeah.
Twilight of the Dead. This was before. I know definitely before Diary and Survival of the Dead, which was rough.
Hush, hush, hush.
I'm sorry, Survival of the Dead. I remember. I can't remember the channel, but they were showing it before it was released in the theater. And I had my brother-in-law, who's a huge Romero fan, come over and watch it, and we both fell asleep watching it in each other's arms. No, but I was like, we missed it. And luckily I DVR'd it so I could go back and watch it. I'm like, yeah, this movie's no good. It's unfortunate to me that that's the last thing we got from him. That's of his zombie movies. Is that movie? He couldn't.
Still has some decent kills in it.
Yeah, but ultimately I think it's not memorable at all.
You talking about the Looney Tune eyeballs?
Yeah, the way they put the fire extinguisher in the guy's face and it's like,
Yeah, that one. God. It's like if Dead or Alive was made with CGI.
That's another problem. And that's, I don't know. And ultimately, you know, I think The Walking Dead was out by then too, wasn't it?
Not the series. The series didn't start until like 2010.
When did Survival of the Dead come out?
2008, 2009, and
No, I think it was after that.
Diary of the Dead came out in 2007.
You can tell when Diary of the Dead's made. It's got MySpace in it.
Yeah, I made a note because Diary of the Dead was POV, and it's actually is ahead of Cloverfield by a year.
Well, I like Diary of the Dead. Especially when I first saw it, there were some fun kills, like the guy with the fucking sickle through his own head. That was pretty cool.
The Amish guy.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. It was okay overall. I like that it was on the at the beginning of the outbreak, which was kind of interesting. So it almost is a prequel in a way, even though it's, you know, a wash in technology at that point's technology. But I liked it for what it was. I mean, there was when they go to the hospital, took me back to the Return of the Living Dead 2 a little bit, which obviously is not part of the series, but you know, that's every time I saw that scene, that's what it reminded me of. And then everything that happened in the house at the end of the movie, it's not bad. It's not my least favorite. It's ranked exactly where it falls in the continuity, not the continuity, but the timeline of when the movies were released. And then Survival of the Dead would be my least favorite, obviously. I don't think I've made it through that movie all the way. I had the first time was 2 or 3 sittings to get through it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nathan Thomas Milliner said, I saw a panel of George and Tom in 99 and they talked about Twilight of the Dead. Still kick myself. I didn't grab a pick with Romero then.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know, there was a convention here in St. Louis in 2013, and so I now have no problem with going up to celebrities. Jared knows how nervous I get, though. Remember Amanda Wiss 2 years ago, and I was all sweating and my face was getting hot. Anyway,
Yeah. I just gave you a quick kiss and you were good to go.
yeah, oh yeah, kiss on the tip, and we went in. No. Then anyway, in 2013, I saw Romero. He was at a comic convention, and he was sitting at the table, and nobody was talking to him. Nobody was at his booth. And Elizabeth, my wife, kept saying, "Go see him. Go see him." I was like, "I don't know what I'd say." It's like, you've seen all his movies like 1,000 times. Go say hi. Go get a picture with him. And I didn't. And then in 2017, he was supposed to be at Days of the Dead,
Yeah.
and all the cast, the entire cast of Dawn was there as well. And
He canceled.
he canceled at the last minute because of his health, and within 2 weeks he was gone. So it's a shame. That's one person. He and Wes Craven are like, they were at the tops of my list of celebrities I've always wanted to meet, and I never will get to meet. Maybe in the afterlife, if there is one.
Oh yeah, you could be playing card games with like all your favorite directors.
They're like, we got
Well-
the good Romero sequels up here.
We'll have them all up there or down there.
No, I meant like he made his own up there.
Oh,
Made some more.
well, we got what we have, and it's okay by me, I guess. I mean, it's whatever. The best part is we've got 3 different cuts of Dawn of the Dead.
Yes.
Have you guys seen all the cuts? There's a European, there's a theatrical, and then there's the or is it a director's cut? Something like that.
I think I saw a theatrical.
That's all I've seen too.
So after watching the European cut a couple weeks ago and rewatching the theatrical cut, that's what Jared's got in his hands. It's got all 3 versions. The European cut is a little bit better, and the score is not as, it's a little bit all over the place in the theatrical cut compared to the European. So I would definitely suggest watching the European cut. That's recut by Argento. And
It's
there's
a lot shorter. It's about a half an hour shorter.
The score is a little bit different also. I don't think that kooky, dun, 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 I don't think that's in there. I don't, as far as I can remember, I don't think it's in there. So
That's my wake up alarm. Dun, 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 dun.
that would be a good one. Maybe I should do that.
That's my wake up alarm. Every day.
Mine's "Wake Me Up Before You Go" by Wham.
Oh, nice.
No, it's not.
I like it.
Mine's the Wonder Woman theme from Justice League. So anyway, oh, Chicago's calling me.
Chicago.
Is anybody else getting phone calls? Hey, you should vote for Mike Bloomberg. Blah 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 blah. It's driving me insane.
Oh yeah, I'm getting all texts and calls.
Yeah,
Not just for him, but
I fuck with them.
I have before. I don't even bother now. They have no sense of humor. It's just like them sex bots. When you get the sex bot messages, hey, what are you doing? Hold on, let me go get the remote or whatever it was. Me? No, just me. Okay. So, anything else we want to talk about before we get going?
Let's say, well, Land of the Dead, I watched it, and I remember watching it growing up. It's like one of those movies you just get flood memories of watching it before. I liked it. The only things that really killed it for me were the very weirdly rendered CGI parts, and the main zombie. I hate his makeup.
Who, Big Daddy?
Yeah, I don't like the weird like lines sunken.
They're
cheek
all
things they
starting
have.
to do that in that movie. Yeah, that's a design choice for that movie because there's a couple other ones that like that or that have that. What's cool is he wears his makeup at cons and walks around with it on.
Does he?
Yeah.
was he there at the Horror Hound when Keith was there, or was that the year before?
That was the year before.
I
I
don't
think it was the
remember
year
that.
before.
Yeah. Yeah, the
He was in
What?
full makeup, basically.
yeah, the celeb lineup from this last Horror Hound wasn't great.
Yeah, it wasn't. I'm hoping it competes with Ohio right now because it's absurd.
I'll have to look. I don't even know.
Candyman, fucking
Use his real name.
Tony Todd.
Come on, amateur.
God.
Yeah, Tony Todd's going. Well, Virginia Madsen's going to be there too, I think, right?
Yeah.
I was looking at it earlier, and it's Sam Raimi.
Who?
Sam Raimi.
What did he make?
Oh my God. Robert
Army
Englund.
of Darkness.
What?
Oh, Army of Darkness? He doesn't belong at Horror Hound. That's like
Did
having
he-
John Cena go to Horror Hound.
Did he get killed in a movie called Intruder? I know
Robert-
that guy.
Robert Englund, Keith David,
Keith
Billy
David.
Zane.
Sounds very similar to the one we went to a couple years ago.
Ted-
Bruce Campbell got up there too.
No, Bruce Campbell is not announced yet. Ted Raimi's there.
It's okay. The chances of seeing Bruce Campbell will probably be very slim anyway.
Like 5 people from The Thing. Not Kurt Russell, obviously.
No, he's too
So
high class.
Keith David.
Andrea I can never pronounce her last name. From Swamp Thing and Creepshow.
Barbeau.
Barbeau. Yeah.
Adrian Barbobot. She has huge tracts of land.
Lisa Wilcox. Lisa Zane.
Oh, my favorite Lisa's.
Bunch of people
That's
from
not-
Demon Knight.
Demon Knight. Oh,
There's
one
like
of
4 or
Jared's
5 of
favorite.
them.
Demon Knight should have made it farther in the 90s bracket.
It's one of my favorite 90s horror movies.
It's a really good, fun horror movie. It's a lot of fun, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think both Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood were a lot better than, I guess, I don't know if it's because Tales from the Crypt was attached to it or what, but they were a lot better than how they were received. Because I remember my friends not liking, my horror friends back then were a bunch of chuds anyway. Didn't like those movies. I like Bordello of Blood. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Demon Knight's the better of the two, of course, but
of course. Was it Dennis Leary? Not Dennis Leary.
Dennis Miller.
it's Miller.
Miller. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, he's kind of a pud, but I think he's funny. And they put him on Monday Night Football. So anyway,
Do you guys count the Dawn of the Dead remake as a remake? Because it doesn't
No.
feel like a remake to me. It
No.
feels like it's its own movie just with Dawn attached. They just have the mall. That's about it.
I mean, if like I said before, if not for the title and the mall, it would be its own thing completely. And I think it's a superb horror movie, and an even better zombie movie. I love it.
What do you think about them changing the zombies to be more fast instead of the Romero type?
That was more terrifying to me. I mean, I feel like anybody who almost
because
anybody.
That movie
There's
came out. That movie came out before 28 days later, so it was
no,
already.
not after.
Did it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
What?
like 2 years later. Yeah.
All right.
I think that like for instance in Night of the Living Dead, I really think they could have made it out of that farm area because there weren't that many zombies to begin with, and if they were running, that's a game changer because as human beings in the Romero universe, you can run where zombies didn't. They walked very slowly.
Yeah, I mean, hell, you can be like Barbara in the 90s Night. She's just pretty much walking with her gun up and just walking past
Yeah.
them.
I mean, that's what she does, and they could have done that, and they didn't think to do that. They did instead barricade themselves in a house. But like,
Well, they didn't really know what they were up against. Whereas
But they could see that they were moving slowly. It's like, come
yeah,
on.
but I mean, it was like the first hours of this happening. Where
You guys are gonna all have to shit your faces.
like
28 days later came out before Dawn of the Dead remake.
Yeah, that's what we said. You said it came out after.
I said it came 4.
No, rewatch the tape when we're done.
Oh god damn it! God damn it!
Nathan Thomas Milliner said one of the best openings of any horror film, Dawn remake.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I meant to
Even
say
if it-
before.
I like how she's just like, fuck the kid and locks the door.
Did you see her face?
Yeah, I saw her face. But most people would be like, this is my kid. What the hell's wrong with you? She's just like, kicks the kid out and shuts the door.
That's not her kid.
It's not her kid?
No, that's a
No.
kid from across the street.
How the fuck she get in the house?
Who knows? Maybe in that neighborhood. This was in Milwaukee, also. Not. It was in Wisconsin, not in Pennsylvania.
We keep our
Maybe
doors
they didn't
unlocked.
lock their doors. Yeah, you never know. Maybe she got in some other way. Maybe there's a doggy door. I love this. I love when the kid pops up after she gets knocked down. and she just kind of hops up. It's
Yeah.
like, oh god. And that sets the entire tone of the whole movie that these zombies aren't fucking around. Yeah, I love that movie. It's not just good with the zombies and how terrifying they can be running at you, but the characters within the mall are so great. It's not just confined to just 4, like in the original movie. You've got this whole big cast of characters, and there's a lot of development, a lot of like the growth of CJ in that movie is so awesome. After he's such a prick to everyone, and then he gets locked up, and then he becomes very helpful. And really, I think CJ is the best character in the whole movie. But I do like what's his name, the guy who gets left on the dock at the end. Is it David?
Yeah, I liked him the most. I don't remember.
Yeah, I like him
Michael, I
quite a
believe.
bit too. Yeah, Michael. Yeah, I liked him, and I mean, most characters in that, other than Luda and Mekhi Phifer, are pretty likable. In that movie, and you kind of get to a point where you're rooting for most of them, except for Luda and Mekhi Phifer, because they're sectioning themselves off away, and it made sense because she became a zombie and had a zombie baby, which was weird.
A baby zombie.
Yeah. Is that zombie baby better than the baby in Dead Alive?
No.
No.
Dead Alive
No.
attacks.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, that baby didn't have a chance. They killed it immediately.
True.
And then Steve. Let's talk about Steve for a second. Ty Burrell. He was awesome. He's such a prick. And I love the mid-credit scene where they find his camcorder and he's like, has a topless chick sitting on his lap.
Yeah, my fiance was watching it with me. She's like, "Is that the guy from Modern Family?" I'm like, "Yeah."
It is, yeah. Before Modern Family. And that shows how good of an actor is, because he's nothing like that character in Family, even close. He's such a prick in Dawn of the Dead, and I love it. It's so good. And I like when he gets shot. He gets what he's
And he doesn't seem to age either.
No, he doesn't. No. I love that guy. Such a good movie.
Nathan Thomas Miller said, "I thought there was too many characters in the remake, though." I mean, I guess there's too many, but it also allows them to kill people and get kills on camera, which that's the whole reason, I would imagine.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first, like, I mean, obviously I watched Night of the Living Dead growing up a lot, but that was my first ultra-violent zombie movie, I would say, growing up. And especially since I was playing Dead Rising a lot growing up. That made me like that remake a lot growing up, especially since I saw it in theaters.
Dead Rising's the one in the mall, right?
Yeah.
The photographer. Yeah. That's a fun game. Yeah. Now they did make 2 remakes of Day of the Dead.
Yeah, which I have not seen.
That's all we'll say about that. So, there have been a lot of actual Night of the Living Deads. There's one called Night of the Living Dead 3D with Sid Haig.
Yeah.
Which is awful. I don't know if it ever got made. There was one called Regeneration, I think, where it was supposed to be like a 3D CGI type movie, and I think Danielle Harris played a voice in it. I'm not 100% sure if that ever got released, but being public domain, I'm actually going to remake that this weekend in my house. Got plenty of neighbors.
So
I don't have a fuel pump I can blow up, but
that was something. The fuel pump is something my fiance was pointing out. She liked how it blew up the truck in the remake way better than the original, which I agree.
So
it makes a little bit more
was
sense.
Ben the cause of that?
In the remake or the
in
original?
the remake, because he tosses his torch in the back of the truck.
Well, he shoots the pump with the gun like
Yeah.
Ben does in the original, but in the remake he has a shotgun, which it's pellets, it spreads, and
The whole fucking thing.
yeah, he shoots the hose, which lets all the gas leak out
Into the truck where the torch is
where the
lit.
torch is lit.
So yeah, I mean, come on now. Ben killed Judy and Tommy or whatever his name is. That son of a bitch.
My
Their
jacket's
blood runs in.
good.
My fiance, when she heard that part, she was like, "What did she say?" I was like, "She said her jacket's caught." And she was like, "Oh, I thought she said I dig this truck." I was like, like I don't want to leave.
In the moments, I dig this truck.
I dig this truck.
All right. Anything else we got?
What's everybody's least favorite?
Survival of the Dead.
Diary of the Dead.
Diary.
Mine's Survival, just because I don't like the weird Irish family
You don't
fight.
like Hatsfield and McCoy plus zombies plus Looney Tunes?
Yeah. I mean, there was a cool fire extinguisher kill and a cool flare gun kill. But like Diary of the Dead, like even though POV had been done to death by the time Diary of the Dead came out, like it had a little fresh vibe to it.
Diary of the Dead was just super cheesy for me, especially when he has to charge his camera and he's like, I should really be helping them, but I can't. I'm plugged up. Ain't that some shit? And I'm like, what?
Granted, the dude Jason was kind of a dick. I gotta film everything.
That's the thing. That's my problem with POVs. Is like sometimes they don't have a good enough reason for it being filmed. This character's just obsessed with recording things.
I'm trying to think of another movie. It's like how they were able to get around that. Why are you fucking filming still? Yeah, because that was one of my biggest issues. Was why the fuck did he not put his camera down?
And that's the thing. When that happens, he just puts his camera down. Like normal people would turn their camera off to save their battery and not waste. Especially in that day, that would be like hard drives or film, wouldn't it?
Or save their friend that's running in the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't a movie anymore, Jason.
Just, you know what, remember, if you guys ever are in a zombie apocalypse with me, I'm going to record everything, and I will not put for anything.
Well, we have
You're not gonna save
GoPros.
any
You can help
rests.
us now. We don't have these giant...
No, I'm going to get a 1989 VHS. That's what I'm using. I want it on VHS. I want to do it the old
It's
school
going to be like
style.
Patrick Wilson in Conjuring 2. He's like, it's so lightweight.
Yeah. Don't come around with me. So least favorites are Survival and Diary. What about everybody else out there? Anybody watching? Let us know what your least favorite is. Favorites go Night, Dawn, and Dawn and Dawn.
I will say though, at the very ending of Diary, they kind of have a monologue where they show the ending cutscenes, and then it says, "Are we really worth saving?" And I thought that was kind of like...
See, that was the other weird thing about Survival. It didn't really seem
Really
to have
cool.
a social commentary. It seems to be like the only one to me that didn't have a social commentary. Because Diary, I feel like its social commentary was technology and being
It was very
obsessed with
prevalent.
posting.
It was definitely very prevalent because they had like radio not advertisements, but like radio alerts saying like the Mexican border is not allowing any more American citizens.
Yeah. And that was the thing with Diary. They were trying to say it was illegal immigrants.
Did I say Survival? I meant Diary.
Yeah. Survival, like literally, I don't see a social commentary.
Other than the Irish family grunt.
It's like, are you Irish and having problems at home?
Well, yes, I am. All right. Anything else? I keep saying that because I don't want to cut you guys off. I want you to say whatever you need to say. I'm never talking about this again.
All I gotta say is for Diary, what kills it for me is the main character, the girl. I hate her. I hate her voiceover narration. I know she just drives me nuts. She's like a wannabe Sarah Connor, and she's super bitchy the entire fucking movie.
Yeah, she annoyed me as well, especially she's like, we're almost out of gas. We need gas or we're not going to go anywhere. I'm like, you really have to explain to me how gasoline works?
But she was able to talk those guys into extra supplies.
It was also...
And that immediately got stolen.
And I guess the other weird thing is Diary and Survival are the only two that are directly connected.
That's a good point.
But they are made by the exact same film company. They even come out a year apart, because I'm not sure.
Yeah, about a year.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
I'm looking here at my Blu-ray. Apparently there's a commentary with George Romero. I got to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to watch that.
I saw that pop up. I can't remember. I think it's Survival. As soon as I put it in, I was like, I can already tell it's going to be cheesy by this menu, because it's like, are you on the living side or the dead side? And I'm like, really? Gotta have me pick sides on a menu just to click play on a movie.
Was that the DVD or the Blu-ray?
Blu-ray, the one you have in your hand, I'm pretty sure.
I have not watched my Blu-ray,
Yeah,
but I do have 2 copies of it, so that means I'm awesome.
mine's got one of those like what is it
Yeah,
called?
I took that off. I have
Yeah,
it.
it's weird. It's just a piece of cardboard like attached to it. It's not a case. Like you couldn't have spent a couple. Oh, see, mine's not even a case.
It's not?
Mine is literally just a front piece of cardboard that's just attached to it.
Oh no, mine's a slip,
Yeah, I don't have a slip.
but I took it off for some reason. Oh, now I'm putting it back on.
But it is the same images. Yeah, it's the hand on the face.
Creepsy.
Crazy.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch that with the commentary and see if he kind of explains why this movie is in existence.
Well, he said on when I was just watching the behind the scenes of Day of the Dead, he was talking about how Day was his personal favorite, and he was waiting for people to catch up to Survival like they did with Day. But I don't think that'll ever happen.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's gonna happen. Just so everybody knows, if they know me, I don't join horror groups. Don't invite me.
So, do we think the zombie franchise is dead? Like in mainstream, like in theater movies?
It's getting there.
Because what was the last zombie movie that came out?
Dead Don't Die.
That's true. I forgot all about that one. I haven't seen that yet.
Adam Driver and Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either.
I've seen mixed reviews, but most of the people I didn't like it don't like dry humor.
Yeah, I think it's really pretty black humor style.
Oh, I'll love it then.
Well, and obviously we had Zombieland, but
Yeah, Zombieland double.
serious zombie
Yeah.
movies, I guess.
Other
Not
than
comedy.
other than well, I mean, Zombieland's got it's a mix. Other than the Romero movies, what are some of your favorites? One I recently saw that took me forever was that Train to Busan, which was really fucking cool.
Yeah, I still have not seen that.
Really good movie.
Really, really good. Did anybody see Maggie?
I have not.
Yes.
That's with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have not seen that, I don't think.
What about
If you got kids, it's a tearjerker.
I have kids, but it's not a tearjerker. It was garbage. I hated it.
Uh-oh.
What about The Dead? Anybody seen The Dead?
Yeah.
Garbage.
The
The
Dead 2 was in India. It was a little better.
Garbage.
What?
The Resident Evil movies, Wreck, Shaun of the Dead, of course. Let's just say it right now. The Resident Evil movies are the tops of all the zombie movies. You got, of course, Return of the Living Dead. We can talk a little bit about it if you guys want.
Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
Yeah,
was
Return of the
fun.
Living Dead is a lot of fun. I think that's if I put a poll up on the Horror Syndicate, what zombie movie is your favorite? Return of the Living Dead will usually get a lot of votes.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely one of a fan favorite zombie movie. It's a lot of fun. Linnea Quigley does that little dance. It's always good. There's also a bunch of good. I'm sorry, Keith, but a lot of good Italian horror movies that are zombie movies. You got Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, Burial Ground, Zombie. You know, would you call City of the Living Dead a zombie movie in the Beyond?
I would probably consider more City of the Living Dead a zombie movie than The Beyond.
And these are thanks to George Romero. Even Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, which came out in '74. House by the Cemetery, I wouldn't call a zombie movie. These are Gates of Hell movies. But there's a good cannibal crossover with zombies called Dr. Butcher MD. So catch up, Keith. So,
AKA Zombie Apocalypse. Is that what the other name is? Zombie Apocalypse?
Oh, is it Zombie Apocalypse?
No. Damn it.
Yeah, Zombie Holocaust.
Zombie Holocaust, yes.
Yeah, there is a Zombie Apocalypse movie too.
So
But,
is Night of the Creeps or Reanimator technically zombie movies?
I think
Like, what would they be categorized as?
Night of the Creeps, I don't know, because then Slither is.
Yeah, they're more of like,
They're possession movies, if you ask
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Yeah, they're kind of the same types of films.
Yeah, Reanimator. That's a toughie because that
Well, it's,
technically
they're
That's
still
H.P.
zombies,
Lovecraft.
but they're not virus zombies.
they're not infected.
It's H.P. Lovecraft. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have Reanimator with Return of the Living Dead, but that's also kind of a comedy horror. So, but I don't know. I like zombie movies aren't as big as they used to be. I think The Walking Dead kind of extinguished that.
I could agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, when zombies become a big deal for people, like everybody, even the regulars like it. That's kind of extinguishes the fire for them for regular people, for horror fans. Apparently, there's a movie called Inmate Zero that's coming out this year. I don't know if it's an indie film or not, but I just saw it pop up on my Facebook. Inmate Zero, aka Patience of a Saint, 2020 infected zombie movie. It's on or VOD right now, so
Oh, there was
check that out if you want. The cover looks like a Day of the Dead remake, which again there are two of them. Just to throw that out there, there are two Day of the Dead remakes, and neither one of them are good.
there was Overlord. Did you guys watch that?
I did not.
Yes.
I
Yeah, that's
did.
really good.
I had fun
I
with
did.
it.
It was actually like way different than what I was expecting. It was more of a straightforward kind of war movie.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing and didn't realize the main guy was Kurt Russell's son.
What?
Wyatt
Yeah.
Russell?
They look just alike.
I didn't notice his son at all until after the movie. I was like, "What the fuck's happening?"
Oh shit! I didn't know that. I was kind of actually anticipating like more like I don't know if you guys have ever seen Frankenstein's Army.
I have not seen it. I know what it is.
It's an amazing movie where like there's this dude that's constructing like robots and fucking shit that will fight, but it kind of like plays on the whole Nazi experimentation surgeries and stuff.
So I'm looking at a release of zombie movies coming. I don't know where they're getting this from, but number 6 is Rise of the Living Dead.
Oof. No.
Where'd you see this?
It does not sound good.
Nerdmuch.com. I just googled
Nerdmuch?
zombie movies coming out. George Romero presents Road of the Dead.
Yeah.
Road of
That,
the
is
Dead?
that one that was never released that they found the footage for, or is that something I'm thinking of?
No, that was he was working on a script with somebody else. He pretty much knew that he wouldn't be able to direct it, but he worked on a script with somebody else. And last I heard, they were still intending to make it, but
I know
haven't
what
heard anything in a while.
Rise of the Living Dead or Rise is George Romero's son making a prequel to Night of the Living Dead.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
That's what that is. Yeah. I don't know how far into production it is or anything like that, but I think Brian mentioned that to us last year, Jared.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot Netflix has Army of the Dead coming.
Oh yeah. Which Brian is in, apparently.
Is he?
Yeah, he plays a zombie or something.
Yeah. I wonder if this is going to take place with Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead?
That's a good
Probably not.
question. I don't think so, but
Or if it's going to like loosely, like not directly connect in film because he probably doesn't have rights, but have little Easter eggs that tell you they're connected.
perhaps.
Zack Snyder's directing it.
When is that coming out, I wonder?
I don't know. I heard about it forever ago. Release date to be announced, apparently.
They were
It's
filming it.
Supposed to have Batista, Chris D'Elia, the comedian.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they can. It's in the can because there are production stills on the internet. So, and again, Brian's in it, so
Oh yeah, we got the Walking Dead movies coming, apparently.
gives a shit.
I don't know how well that's going to go.
Oh, it's going to be a Netflix movie, it looks like.
Yeah.
The Army of the Dead.
Yeah, I remember that getting announced like at the beginning of last year or something. He's too worried about his Snyder cut.
I want the 4-hour Watchmen version.
It said it was originally intended to be a sequel to Dawn of the Dead.
God dang it, Nathan Thomas Milliner. Army of the Dead? Question mark. There is only army of and that's darkness. What?
There's only one army. That's like a Clerks 2 reference. There's only one return of the Jedi.
Yep.
Yeah.
You see Ray puke.
I like Army of Darkness. Okay, I do. But I don't think it's better than half the movies it beat in the bracket.
Yeah.
Anybody
There's
watching?
only Army of Darkness.
We have a bracket. We're doing brackets every month of movies that happen in a decade, in each decade. So we're doing the 80s next in April. And somehow Army of Darkness beat out Candyman, Silence of the Lambs, and even Tremors, which I don't like. And it was because it was shared in an Army of Darkness, or no, was it a Bruce Campbell fan group? If not, I don't think it would have won.
Yeah,
So
it was.
asterisk next to it.
It was shared without context of what the brackets were intended to do.
And then people made a stink about it, saying, "Oh, we're not allowed to share these." No, share them. That's fine. But you know what would be great is if you voted on everything else, and didn't vote on it just because Bruce Campbell's in it.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm really worried about the '80s bracket with Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, because if they get shared in that group again, it's just I'm gonna have to retire all three of those movies.
We just have to pitch them together.
Well,
Match them together.
We're gonna pick one of the two. So I'll put up a bracket of matchup with Evil Dead versus Evil Dead 2, which for me I would pick Evil Dead. It's more horror than the other one.
Fans probably like Evil Dead 2 better though.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, if Evil Dead comes through and beats and just wipes that bracket out just in the same fashion, the Evil Dead movies are going to be retired, all of them.
They're going to go into the Hall of Fame.
We got a horror syndicate vault now.
There's a vault.
We're gonna be like Disney.
The Hall of Fame consists of A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Thing, and Halloween.
Yeah.
And Army of Darkness, and those will not go in the Hall of Fame because they're going to be pulled off of all the brackets if it happens again. That's the only thing I can think to do. So, because it's not fair to everybody else who's been voting on these things for how long have we been around now, Jared? 4 years doing this?
4 years. But there's no way Army of Darkness is better than Silence of the Lambs.
No, it's not. I mean, Silence of the Lambs. I mean, if you even go from the perspective of legit, reviewer or whatever, it's that won Academy Awards. So anyway, not that means everything, but that's kind of tells you what kind of a movie it is, I think. All right, enough of that. Next month we're going to be doing March Madness, I'm thinking about doing characters. What do you guys think about that?
I can see that.
The only problem with characters is people think of who's fighting who. It's like Freddy versus
Yeah,
Jason.
that is the problem.
Not how it goes. It's not who would win in a fight. It's which one do you like better. And that gets lost on people because
Chucky against Jason, really?
Yeah. They don't even make any sense. They're not the same world. These movies don't. That's one of the things that drives me crazy. This doesn't make any sense. These movies aren't anything alike. It's like that's not the fucking point.
Which one do you think is better?
And I need to put that on every single thing. But most people don't read these. They just see the matchup and click whichever one they like better.
Now, don't worry. I made a post earlier in a group, and I put a link to a thing I purchased, and everybody in the comments like, "Where'd you get that at? Where'd you get that at?" I'm like, I put the link to Amazon right there in the caption. It's bright and blue on Facebook.
It's almost like you gotta say that first. Attention! Bought this on Amazon. This is what it is.
It's like asking questions that you could Google.
Pretty much. Well, I know that's the funny thing. It's like I always want to ask people questions like, I could just Google that.
Yeah.
But anyway, got off on a tangent a little bit. I guess we're going to end it here tonight. Thanks to anybody who joined us. If you're on YouTube watching later, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd like to get over 200 people eventually. And hit the like button if you like what we're doing. That gets it seen by more people. So they can watch 2 seconds of it and then move on to something else. So, Keith, you got any last words?
I do not.
What would you like on your tombstone?
On my tombstone?
You ever see those commercials, the Tombstone pizza commercials? Anyway, No final words. Seth, what about you?
I just all I have to say is I love the George Romero zombie movies, especially the first four. I can watch them all anytime, and I usually do. I do think that they connect thematically. There's great movies, and yeah, that's all I have to say about that. To quote Forrest Gump.
Yep, I was gonna say what. Thanks, Forrest. Jared, what about you?
I've always liked the zombie movies, and kind of like he was saying, they do actually kind of like slowly progress from different situations into the apocalypse. So for anybody out there that hasn't seen them, start from the beginning and move on.
Yeah, and check out the. I'll piggyback that by saying check out the pre or the remakes. Even check out Day of the Dead. It may be your thing. It may not be your thing. It's definitely not my thing.
Always
And
give a
most,
movie a chance.
and it's definitely not most people's things. So, um, check us out next week. We're gonna present overrated movies. So each one of us is gonna pick 5 overrated horror movies and we're gonna talk about it.
I feel like everybody's gonna hate me.
Spoiler, what is it? Tell me.
This is
Oh,
gonna be
spoiler.
fun.
The Witch?
This is gonna be fun.
Okay, yeah, it's gonna be fun. So overrated horror movies. So get your 5 prepared, and we'll go do a roundtable discussion about that. So join us next time. Please don't forget to subscribe on the YouTube and check out Facebook. And that's all we got. We'll see you next time.